Hi, I'm Christine Cushing, and welcome to another helping of My Favorite Foods. Today, I'm taking you back to my French cooking school days so we can taste an absolute classic, Coqauvin. Let's go. The French classic recipes do have this magic, and I really wanted to take you back to that moment where I first fell in love with this particular recipe, Coqauvin, which is essentially chicken in a wine sauce. But hang on a second. Coqauvin is actually not chicken, but it's rooster. So there's a reason why the recipe is the way it is, the red wine and chicken, which seems like a bit of a what? Why would you put red wine with chicken? Well, the reason is that originally it was rooster. Rooster is super tough, however very flavorful. So the red wine is doing a couple of things. First of all, it's actually tenderizing the meat. And secondly, it's adding great flavor. Look at my mise en place here. All my things ready to make this amazing dish. Very helpful to do this in advance. Can we talk mushrooms? I am absolutely obsessed with the king oyster mushroom. I've used it in a few of my recipes, but I just love it. It's very meaty. There's no waste whatsoever. They're pretty much readily available now. They are a little bit pricey, but they really have that meaty, beautiful flavor that is perfect for this. So I don't want to worry about, browning the mushrooms, taking them out, them getting all soggy. These mushrooms are awesome for this dish. Now, if there's one thing that the French know how to make, that is chicken. I mean, seriously, chicken is a religion in France. We think of chicken as it's like a lowly chicken. Oh no. In France, you could pay, 100 euros, 60 euros for a beautiful roast chicken. They love it. And in fact, the rooster is their national animal. So you pair that with their national drink of wine, and you realize why this is such a classic French dish. Now, to marinate in the red wine or not to marinate in the red wine. Once you marinate the chicken in the red wine, it's really going to absorb a lot more flavor. So you don't have to do it overnight. Overnight is ideal, no longer than that, but at least 1 or 2 hours. So really a good idea is you start to marinate the chicken in the red wine while you're chopping your mise en place or getting your mise en place, all the things ready to start your fantastic Coqauvin. Now I'm starting by browning some bacon. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, my bacon was super lean and I couldn't find any slab bacon. That's optimal, where you get those nice French chunks. Okay, look, you see I have hardly any fat, so I'm not gonna pitch that at all. I'm gonna use it. And now I've marinated the chicken for about a couple of hours while I prepare everything else, maybe an hour and a half. I want to make sure it's as dry as it can be in preparation for the searing or the browning. I don't want to waste this wine. Make sure you don't throw that out because that's going back in the sauce. And for dredging, I just sprinkle with a bit of flour and make sure it's even on all sides. I just want to absorb some of that wine and also give my sauce a little bit of sheen, just a little bit of that glossiness so it's not runny. Seasoning with salt and pepper. And back on the heat. Starting with some olive oil. I've got about a medium-high heat here. Now you see how that's hardly got any color. I just want to render it a little bit more. And make sure I can fit another piece in there. Ah, that's perfect. That's not crowded. We're really working against the odds of ever getting this chicken browned. Why is that? Because the chicken was marinated in the red wine, which is really going to impart flavor right within the meat. But what is happening is it's not going to dry out, and then that means it's not going to brown. So for it to brown, all of the moisture has to evaporate. So we're not looking for a crispy skin here. We're just looking to render some of that fat. That's going to give us flavor and also caramelize it, which again, is going to give us flavor. It's all about the flavor. French, no flavor. Now this took about 10 to 15 minutes here. You can see all that fat from the chicken skin. I'm going to discard that. Oh, look at how brown that is. In are going the blanched onions, and I'm deglazing with some, shh, don't tell anyone, it's Greek brandy. Oh no, faux pas. Now I want to scrape every last bit of that crispiness underneath. That is flavor. Look at it. Okay, I'm getting a little overexcited. In come the mushrooms. Now I want to get a nice glaze on this. I want to caramelize them, getting texture, flavor on every layer. Oh, it's butter time. We are in France. Now at this point where you can see in the bottom of the pan, I've got so much flavor going on. It's crazy amount of color, and you can see now that I've added a little bit of that butter, this would be a good time to add a touch more flour if you want your sauce to have a bit more viscosity. So if you like it to be a little bit richer, like a classic old school French sauce, you can add a little bit more flour here, making a roux, and then when you add the rest of your liquid ingredients, it's just going to turn into what's called a velouté, and it's going to get a bit richer. I like it a bit leaner, so I like it just to have a sheen, but totally up to you. Now I'm adding the minced garlic and that reserved wine, because as soon as the garlic hits the pan, I don't want it to burn. Oh, smells are crazy good. How old is this recipe, this Coqauvin? I actually have a cookbook that says it goes way back to the time of Caesar when the Romans were fighting the Gauls. I mean, who knows? There's so many stories about recipes. I mean, every recipe has 50 stories about where did it start, who invented it, who created it. But anyway, no matter how old it is, it's classic. So we're not going to argue that fact, right? Now I'm just adding a little bit of tomato paste and the chicken stock. If you have homemade, it's really going to give your sauce a better texture. I'm just putting the herbs in like this. I'm not being too fussy. 1 bay leaf. And I'm going to put the chicken right back in. Keeping all those juices. And covering with more red wine, more Gamay. Did I mention I'm using a Gamay, which is from Beaujolais? You can also use a Pinot, nothing too heavy. You don't want the wine to be too strong. Potatoes went in, seasoning, some rosemary. And another little tip or trick, if you want your bacon to have texture, don't put it in with the braise. Save it for the end and sprinkle it on top, or half in, a little bit on top, however you like. Now I'm going to simmer that for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how tender you like your chicken. I don't like everything falling totally off the bone. Okay, seriously, if you could smell this, ooh la la, it is red wine. It is that roasting sort of the chicken. It's the herbs. It's the smoky bacon. I mean, wow. Who's ready to try some Coqauvin? Oh. The very last touch before I serve it is just some fresh parsley. It's going to brighten it up, it's going to give it a really nice note, and it's going to look spectacular. This definitely has the mouthwater effect. All the aromas, I can imagine it. But why should I imagine it when I can taste it? Oh, wow. So beautiful. Oh my God. Wow. The texture of that chicken is ridiculous, and all of those flavors come together. It's really beautiful harmony. This is that dish that will really transport you to a little bistro in France. Thank you so much for spending time with me on another helping of My Favorite Foods. See you next time. Au revoir.